Welcome to the Surf Strong Show, conversations that build a healthy surf community. We break down breathwork, mobility, strength, mindset, and surf travel with surfers and pros from around the world, so you can surf more, hurt less, and stay connected to the ocean. Follow the show for fresh episodes, bonus drops, and free programs. This is a focused mission, and you're part of it.
So I started surfing when I was 5 years old. My dad is a surfer, so I think that's the dream of every dad, is to have a kid that surfs. So he started with me young, and I started playing in the white waters with a boogie board, and that's how I started surfing. I grew up in the city, which is really close from the beach. It's like 30 minutes from the beach, from Punta Roca, and like a lot of amazing waves. So I grew up pretty close, but not waking up and looking at the waves, and being able to surf every day, that. So I got pretty hooked since a really young age. And because my dad is a surfer, every opportunity that we had as a family to surf, we surf. And then even after school, my dad sometimes, hey, let's go surf. So we grew up like always having the surfer lifestyle and always trying to be at the beach every vacation and everything.
When being a little bit off the beach, did you, looking back or even at the time, did it kind of drive the desire a little bit more? Because you had to work to get that. It just wasn't right there.
Exactly. So like it's when you don't have something right there available, you want it, and so I grew up, and I think that's a big part of who I am, and I'm gonna get there like as a coach and all that. But I mentioned that because it was a big part of everything. And so when I was like 12 years old, I knew that I wanted to surf. Like that's all I want to do, surf. And I knew that I want to have that lifestyle forever. So that was my dream. It was to surf. And so I started competing, and I started learning more like surfing as a sport, and trying to get better and trying to find tools, trying to find information. So that's when my obsession to understand things and how to perform better like started. Back in the days, there was not much information in the internet. It was hard to find the information. Here we didn't have like any academy or anything. Even the coaches, like back in the days, that wasn't a thing. It was more like surf lessons or things like that, but not surf coaches.
Not to elevate.
Not to elevate. It was more just like to have an experience on the white water or something like that. But not even in El Salvador, like I mean in the world.
Yeah.
So I grew up with that obsession of figuring out how to get better at surfing. And because I live in the city, I started to try to find different things so I can get better while I wasn't surfing. At the same time, I have ADHD, so I grew up going to the psychologist, and I grew up like learning a lot of tools to
structure
focus,
that.
to get organized, to visualize, to do a lot of things, and I wasn't using it for surfing. It was just some tools that I was learning for my life.
We're learning to learn well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was doing all that. So when I was in my house, I did my schedules on how to train and how to do this without knowing much about surf coaching or training or anything. It's like I look back and I was doing a lot of the things that you're supposed to do to get better. And I was doing visualization because when I was in school, I was just thinking about surfing all day. So I was visualizing. So every time that I go surfing, I have the feeling, the desire of surfing, but I also practice all week, on my brain. And I wasn't also on the swimming team at my school, so I was training my paddling, so when I go look back and I put all the pieces together, it was like, in a way, I was kind of doing a really cool training program for myself,
Yeah. You were getting yourself ready to be a coach and you didn't even know.
Yes.
And then there's the added piece of not being immersed in the surf culture and having surfers around you all the time. You were having to find that out, do the research, find it. And then as you progressed, then started to be around more surfers, you had a lot more of that information and then learning from those that were around you. Is that kind of how it evolved a little bit?
It evolved that way, but even when I was doing that, I was maybe 14, 15 years old. I was competing, I was very young, like even like 14, maybe 15 years old. I was doing that. And I started competing and I started doing good. And I started doing like better than some of the people that live and surf all the time. So I started like to get results. But I know it's because I was doing a lot of other things, you know. Then when I turned 16, I moved to the beach and I've been living here since I'm 16 years old. I'm 37 now. And when I moved to the beach, I was just surfing all day, like 3 sessions a day, just eat, nap, surf, then sleep and repeat, you know.
It probably did. Well, it's a question. Did that start before at 5? And then when you got there at 16, did you have a lot of gratitude? And then I'm here every day now.
It
To
was
appreciate it that much more?
it was my dream, you know. It was my whole dream. If you ask what's your dream, I want to live in the beach and surf all day. So it was my dream, and I was like, okay, now. So I really appreciate everything. I really appreciate every session,
Yeah.
and I was just super stoked, you
Yeah.
know. And I think that that some of the things that started shaping my life, that obsession for surfing and how to get better, and uh, like what I had a big desire to learn and to absorb. But even that time, there wasn't much coaches and people doing like all the things that now are normal,
Yeah.
you know. So I started like figuring out, and then at the same time, because I want to put it together at the end, at the same time, I had the desire of sharing something good, like the good vibe with my friends, with the other people. I started the Christian Surfers chapter here in El Salvador when I was 16. So when I moved to the beach, I also started that because I wanted to share. So I had that desire. I was obsessed with surfing. I was obsessed of wanting to live about from surfing and to share also with people something good, you know, be a positive impact in the people around me, or where I go, try to be a good impact. So I had that combo, you know, together, and without knowing what I was going to do. Like now I'm looking back, I know that all those things shape my life to do what I'm doing right now, you know. And at some point I was competing, I had sponsors, I was doing the World Games, this representing my country, doing some events and professional events. And then I got injured. So my knee, it wasn't that bad now that I look back, but it was an MCL, almost like leveled, like almost broke my ligament. The doctor put me a cast so that make it worse, put it like for a month and a half. So it took me a while to recover. So my dad find an opportunity for me to study hotel management, and I saw that all those answers and that I was looking for, that I was praying for, I saw that like as an answer. Okay, like wow, this just pops up. I'm looking for, and I end up in Argentina to study. I thought that the ocean was pretty close. Really bad ADHD. Know much about the maps. It was a big river, so I was pretty far from the waves. So I end up living in a city, like there is like a huge city, and like the opposite of my life, you know. Waking up with the birds, looking at the waves. Now I'm in the city with buildings, the cops did like crazy chaos, you know. So that gave me another side, you know, like another perspective of life, also appreciate even more the surfing and all that. But I also had the time to learn more about getting like recovering an injury, how to train when you're out of the water, how to get better. And I started using the surf skate, and I started training with different tools and keep training, you know. So it gave me the time to learn more, and like became like a more complete surfer, and more knowledge to then became a coach. So my thesis, to make it short, my thesis in my university was Puro Surf. So I created Puro Surf in my thesis, and they said like, okay, make a project. What I'm gonna do? Puro Surf. That means all about surfing. You know, that's all I have in my head.
My project is my dream.
Yeah. So okay, let's do it. So I made the project. It was the hotel with the restaurant, a performance academy. The idea was to start with a performance academy and then start building the brand, and then like the opportunities like it was going to come, So that was my thesis. I graduated, came back to El Salvador, and I started Puro Surf Performance Academy in a different location. That was 13 years ago. And I started coach like the Groms because I had the desire to do for the community. So it's like I make a group like training for free for the kids, and a program that I call Sharing Waves. And that's where Brian started coming to those training sessions, and other kids that also are part of the program, all the ones that are not. But I started doing that, the academy, and then with my parents, we were going to do this project in a different locations, in a smaller scale. But then I got hired from a friend that is one of my partners now, and he was already a surfer, so he wanted to get better. So I started coaching him, and then I started coaching another friend that now is my partner also. They wanted to learn how to surf. I shared with them my dream, what I wanted to do, and they say like, hey, we want to support that dream, and we also want to push this dream with you, So they helped me a lot, and now like we created like Puro Surf. It's been 8 years, and now I'm Olympic coach, and like I like present courses for the ISA. I have my own methodology, and like I dedicate my life to surfing and feeling different spaces, and like doing different things that now shape like what we built here at Puro Surf, and what I do as a coach, and that's the experience that I think we're gonna talk about in a little bit.
It's so interesting to look back over the arc of the story that you just gave. And in so many instances where you were pushing either a vision forward, the dream that you had, so much of it was based on building community. I want to give back to this, bring these people together, and we're going to do this positive thing together. Ready, you don't surf, you want to get better. Obviously, surfing is the theme through all of that, but it's bringing people together and connecting. And in that arc of that story, it's also interesting that your injury and your decision to go to university in Argentina made you have to slow down. You had to back off of those things that maybe you would have driven something, whether re-injury or otherwise, and it increased your desire for that dream and also gave you the structured education to implement it. I mean, there's so many of those things that came together that you made a choice, or a choice was kind of thrust upon you, and it really did help solidify the vision more. And that is an amazing arc for that. And talk a little bit about go back to your injury, and then the first impression you had of being in the city. Doubt came in, frustration came in. How did you work through that?
For sure. Like as soon as I got there, I got depressed. Like seriously, like as soon as I arrived, I started looking at all the buildings and everything, and I just got depressed. I wanted to come back to El Salvador to serve, and to be in my comfort zone.
And how did you push through that? Not quit?
Not quit, like I had a mission. I knew my parents were doing a big effort, and I wanted to finish what I started, and at the same time, I knew that there was a mission behind, because if you remember, I pray, and I asked for, okay, I'm in the peak of my career. Have sponsored this, but I felt that I have to do something else. Like, it's like, it was just like
And you remember that.
I remember that, and I remember praying for that. And the next day in a contest, I blew my knee. So I knew that there was a mission behind. So it's like, there's a reason why I'm here, and I don't know what it is, but I'm not gonna quit. And now when you look back, it's like everything was perfect, and all the things that looks like big mistakes or like an injury, that sometimes it's just part of the training. It's just part of the life, and part of your journey, to whatever your journey is,
Yeah.
So
being out of your comfort zone, it's such a crucial tool. It's a muscle. right? We all seek comfort. Humans, we want comfort. It's evolved in us to be outside of that comfort zone, to feel uncomfortable about something. Probably means you should do that thing. And two, that the idea of resilience. I mean, as a coach, how often do you have to pull on that idea of like, I wanted to quit. I was depressed. I wanted to come back to a surfer that you're coaching, whatever they're struggling with. You have to find the why. You have to work through this. It probably comes up so often.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's like if we go deep, it's like being very present, being aware, and find your call, and stick to that, And if that's your path, you have to keep going, keep pushing, and be strong, because is that's your call, And I just want to mention this really quick. I asked in Michael Gorbey,
Yeah.
psychologist. So I went to the surf movement.
So the most recent one?
The first one, to the first one, and then I went to one last year, but to the first one.
Yeah.
And he was talking and asked. There was two guys. The other guy I can't remember, but I asked, "Hey, what to do with procrastination?" Everybody started laughing, because it's like, what this guy is asking procrastination. I don't know. Everybody started laughing, and one gave me a very straight answer, and he was like, "Just do it." I'm like, okay, yeah, that sounds
That's
good.
true.
That's true. And and Michael said something that really like impact my life, and he said like, you know what you have to do is like be very present, look what's inside of you, and see what you really want, not what your parents want, not what other people want, is what you want. If you go that place, you're gonna find the energy, the motivation, and everything to do it. And for me it was like, wow,
Yeah.
that's huge, and it's true, sometimes you have to stop. You have to be like, okay, so I want to listen to what's inside. And we will live in a world that is full of distraction and full of living in the future and living in the past, and like go, 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 just scroll, 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 and it's like you have to now learn how to stop and how to. So it's a whole process, to find, what you really want, what's inside of you, discover yourself, and I don't know. I think that when you find what you want, and I'm not gonna say that I can't be proud of who I am because of my effort of this. I don't know why I was able to go deep. I don't know why I was committed to. I don't have plan B. I want to live with surfing, and this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have plan A, B, C on this path, but not on this path, this path, this path, So I was blessed to have that. So you see, like every little thing that happened in my life, it's now I look back, I understand. But in the moment, it's like, I don't know.
But it's that ability or the skill that you develop to stop, take a breath, work on clarity and presence. That's why you've been able to do those things you do. You're right. I think it's in the world that you mentioned of distraction and things vying for our attention constantly. People are bouncing and they're half efforts through things and they're not sure why they're not stepping forward. But what was so powerful about what you said was you have plan A, B, and C, but they're always on this path. That's goes back to resilience, clarity, the ability to see what you have to work on that pushes you forward on this path. So many times with clients, they come up against this obstacle and they're just ramming this obstacle. Well, how about we just change path? Now this obstacle is not there anymore. Now we're on this path. It's the same path. It's just different. That takes a lot of what goes back to time and clarity and putting the work in. So we don't know why that can be successful, except that's always a component of it. Stopping, clarity, and then putting in the work.
Yes.
Just talk about El Salvador's people and culture and the surf culture specifically from your perspective. I've only been here a couple days, but my first impressions of it are just overwhelmingly welcome and gracious.
So El Salvador culture, I think in general, El Salvador is known for being very nice. like friendly. And I think that's what everybody said. So I guess there is something big about that. And I think the surfers are the same way, super friendly. I don't know if that has to do because we come from like the Civil War and then a lot of things and not too many tourists and tourists coming, to El Salvador. So we really appreciate when people come, but I don't know, that can be a theory. But in general, Salvadorians are known for being like the nicest people on earth. So that's pretty cool, to be part of that. Like always say hello, and buenos dias. And then the surfers, we have different waves in the coast, and we are in El Sonte right now. This is a right point break. There's actually a river mouth that creates a right point break, but if you go around, there's also a left, and there's some beach breaks. And then we have a little cliff there where we have some really good left sometimes. So we have plenty of waves here, and the whole coast is like that. A lot of point breaks, one next to the other. And then we have like kilometers of beach breaks, with good waves, powerful waves when the waves are big, but we have so many waves around, and everybody at their spots, are very good people. And I think that the only thing that they are very protective when someone goes and start like acting like a jerk,
It's like it's a common theme in life,
it's a
right?
common thing,
Be respectful.
Yeah. So I never seen like the locals being bad or trying to like do something to someone that is not doing anything. If you're respectful, like people's gonna welcome you and they're gonna treat you very well, but also they're protective. So if there's someone that is not like following the rules, let's say, like they also can get in trouble. I think that's growing more and more because, as you know, El Salvador right now is very well known and it's growing, and we love that. Uh, but also that brings more people into the lineups and then more jerks also into the
Right.
lineup,
It's
So
just a
it's like,
numbers game.
yes, it's a numbers game. So that can also turn the locals and everything a little bit more protective and be more like sensible or
Yeah.
sensitive, towards that. But in general, like surfing here is very pure, I would say, very pure. Like we didn't grow up with like the fashion, like and the culture of like, of course the culture, but not much the fashion. Like you go to California and there's all the back in the day, the surfer magazine office, that there's FCL or whatever, all the brands are like, here's nothing.
Yeah.
Here's surf. Like,
You
what we
go
do is
surfing.
surf.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing around.
Has that changed a little bit?
And that's changing, that's growing, and there's more industry, and the industry is growing here in El Salvador, and that's cool. But it's very pure. When I grew up, it was like surf, 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 like nothing else. Like, not even like video cameras and like none of that. And because it was like dangerous and had like bad reputation back in the days, we didn't have too many people coming to the country, and we didn't have like the brands coming and sponsoring people, like none of that. So I will say that people here like have a big love for surfing, and people is very obsessed with surf itself, not much with all the things around because we didn't grow up with all that stuff, and even at it's cool. And of course we got the influence of that, and we like dress like as a surfers and like we identify as the culture. The industry, I would say, like the industry was pretty like is nothing.
It's trying to keep that essence, that pure essence as the center and balance the benefits of the industry coming in and not adversely affecting that center. It's a balancing act. And it goes back to the same idea that you said earlier about your own vision, is taking a breath, coming back into clarity. How do we continue to do those things and balance those? It's doable, but it's due diligence on them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, anytime it's outside influence can bring, of course, benefits, can bring consequences, and it's just staying clear and bringing the clarity to benefit from all those things.
Yeah.
It's due diligence each day. And it's almost the same idea of, more numbers of surfers coming in, is those surfers coming in have a big responsibility as they come in, and how to continue to communicate that out. And then El Salvador itself, there was, I wouldn't even say responsibility, but the presence to continue to try to balance that. It's almost like everything, it comes back to the human interaction, right?
Yeah.
And that's difficult.
Yeah, and I think that like for me it's kind of easy to see because I have the blessing of travel, go different
Right.
places, see how it works in other places that the industries are already there, and like so I have all that perspective, so I can see very clear like the all the things that is happening in El Salvador right now. There's good things and there is not so good things. So tourism comes with the positive and the negative, more like pollution, more drugs, more people crowd like in the water, so all that is part, but there's also the good side. So for me, it's good to stay in the middle and be able to appreciate and be aware of, okay, this is the bad. How can we improve on this, on
Yeah.
the bad, and reduce that impact, and then how to be also grateful for the good things, because for me, if we talk about like the vibe in the coast and the vibe in the country, like not so long ago, it was pretty heavy. You could be like safe, like totally nothing happened, but suddenly someone can start like shooting each other, like the guns, and so those kind of things were a real thing. So the vibe always was heavy.
Kind
Right
of
now,
edgy.
yeah,
On the
go like and feel safe anywhere, anywhere you go, like you feel safe. And now me as a father, like that's what I want for my kids. So I have to balance. Okay, yes, I'm gonna share my waves with more people, but I know also that my daughter is gonna be safe if she's walking around, so it's just I think is what it would be nice to see is like everybody that can see both, and everybody can work on
Yeah.
pushing, and like the locals, I mean, like said, like we as locals is like, okay, it's not just the benefits of catching the wave I want, but also how can I protect the environment? How can I like keep it peaceful? You know, all those things is I think it's happening also. It's happening. We're all learning,
Right.
and it's a big impact. Like right now, we went from being just us in the water, and now we have to share with more people.
And on a timetable that was fast.
Yeah.
Like we're talking, correct me if I'm wrong on the timetable, but maybe the last 5 years.
Yes.
So that talk about learning and the learning curve being fast. So you're right. Like how do you keep that central to Puro Surf? How do you bring that idea in, protecting the environment, protecting the local culture and the like you said, the vibe that's here, still bringing the benefits to it of bringing people in to experience this? How do you keep that central to the mission?
Okay, so I try to make Puro Surf like a part of my lifestyle, let's say. So the idea of Puro Surf is to inspire people to become the best version. And the idea behind is this sharing waves program that I have. The philosophy behind is that we all are like a drop of water that you drop on water, and when it falls, it creates like waves, right? That expands. So the idea is that we all are a drop, and anywhere we go, we're gonna create waves, and we decide what kind of waves do we want to be. Bad energy, like complaining waves, like or you wanna be a someone that shares waves of love and gratitude. So we created an experience here that the idea is to push that and try to inspire people to be aware that it's a drop, so he can be the best version, and then he can impact everybody. So trying to bring like the whole business, because it's not easy, like social, but you also have to, it's a business, you have to pay the bills,
Yeah.
and this and that. So it's hard to put it together, but I find out that doing our mission, and my mission of sharing something good, is inspiring others to become the best version, it was a really good way of doing business and at the same time being a good impact, right? So we created something that I call the Puro Surf experience, and of course we're like always working on making it better. But it's to create awareness on 4 basic things, and it's like a happy triangle, I call it. And one is the hotel, and it represents something basic that we forgot. That is that you need to rest. So the hotel represent that, and the idea of creating awareness of we need to rest, to disconnect. It's important for the body to be my best version. I need to rest. Simple. I know. Oh yeah, of course. But we wanted
Forget.
to create the awareness on, because it's different to know than to be aware and be like, okay, I'm gonna rest. Okay, so it's the hotel. Then the restaurant, it represent like the idea of eating healthy food, some of fresh food or delicious food, but be aware of that. That's your fuel. That's what you become, and eating well, it's important, stay hydrated and all that stuff. Another component that we all need to be happy is to grow as a person, so the Performance Academy represent that part. Is a place where you can come and you can do mobility and improve your mobility, or learn a routine, or do yoga, or surf, or improve your surfing, or do jiu-jitsu and self-defense. So a lot of activities that helps you to grow as a person, And then the center and the heart of everything is to give back. So how can I give back? Or I pick a trash from the beach, or I be my best version, or just by being here, you're supporting or program with the Groms that we have, and the team that we coach here. That is a program that we have, and we're developing like young surfers and turning into their best version, but also giving them tools to do that, So in that way, like that's a very specific way on how we support like the social part, But with the whole business, I want it to be inclusive. So it's not just for the poor, the one that needs. We all need. So it's inclusive. It's something that is gonna impact everybody. And the ones people that comes here helps, so I can run the other team of locals and kids that we are coaching, so they can become that. And we have the examples of the fruit of that. Let's say Brian is part of that team. Melvin is another kid that is amazing and is not developing just as a surfer. He learned how to speak English, so we put like English classes here. Like we training him to be a coach, and now he's like a really good coach and he's super young, and I'm impressed with this kid. So we're giving them tools, so they can be successful in this industry, and find that mix, so they can keep surfing but also develop tools. So we have that program going on, and just with that and supporting the surfing as a sport, that is been one of my mission. I had to do all this also to be able to do the other thing, and then everything it goes together, But creating a facility to be able to train, and having the space, finding the money to travel and this and that, to create that path and open that path with Brian, that was like a huge thing that I've very proud of, because since day one we opened here, we invite Brian to live here, to be part of a program, to support him, and to try to make it be the best version of himself. We did the same with another kid, he's called Stanley, and he chose a different path. Brian chose the sport, he chose coaching, and now he's the head coach of Puro Surf, and he's an amazing coach and super, he knows a lot, like amazing, like a really good coach, like world-class coach. And they both came from like really hard like backgrounds or environments and things like that. So like that's like the inside stories that maybe if you just look at it like that, you don't see the impact. But to create a path and create the opportunity to other kids that they can dream of being an Olympic surfer, or being a really good coach and make a good living of that. Those are both paths that I am very proud. Like I think I one of the pioneers in El Salvador of being okay. I'm gonna be a coach and a real coach. And what I mean with that is not that I'm amazing, is that I'm been working on learning, like doing courses, going seminars, learning from people, putting into practice, like improve, like trying to be professional, you know. So I also created that path. So all those little things in the industry and for El Salvador are things that I'm very proud because I'm involved, and somehow with Puro Surf, we've been able to do it and to make it happen, you know. So that's the way I see it, that we have like a balance in a way that, yeah, we receive more tourism and this and that, but we also trying to do something positive, you know, and try to be a social impact for everybody.
And we'll be right back. If you've been listening and know it's time to take your surf fitness seriously, I'd love to invite you to explore my surf exclusive coaching program. This is high level, fully customized coaching designed to unlock more strength, endurance, and mobility so you can keep surfing at your best. I only take on a very limited number of surfers because the attention and personalization is deep. If you're curious whether it's a fit for you, reach out and we'll connect and map out a personalized plan just for you. Go to surfstrongfit.com/start. Now back to the show.
For those that don't know much about Brian, what's his full name? Who is he?
Okay, Brian Perez is a surfer. It's an Olympic surfer, and someone that I know since he was a little kid. He used to watch the cars, like take care of the cars at Punta Roca, one of the best waves in El Salvador. So when you go surfing, he was the kid like, hey, I take care of your car, you know, and then you give him $1 after or something. He's a great human being. I think he's very well known for his surfing. He's the Pink Panther. People know him as the Pink Panther. He has done like some CT events, the QS, Pan American Games, Olympics, but mostly if you ask who's Brian, how's Brian, everybody's gonna tell you that he's a humble guy, a good kid, a kid that is being a good example and is opening the path for the people, for the other kids, you know. So I would say he's a great surfer, but even more like a great human being.
Takes not just effort, but his own vision to not let what can be extremely overwhelming, literally a world stage, not to take those things from him or influence him in a way that isn't his priority anymore. That's a strength of character that's amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, it's cool to.
Yeah, I'm sure he would say the same. So talk about your own experience leading into and then being at those Olympic Games. I'm sure it was overwhelming. I'm sure it was amazing. What were some of those things that you took from that? Like, what was the experience like?
Of being there, it's a dream come true because it's not like it's not that just happened because it happened, you know. It happened because we've been working towards that for a long time. So it feels right, you know. It feels good to be there. It doesn't feel like we are outsiders or anything. Like we felt very comfortable there, you know. It's a scenario that didn't intimidate us, you know. It's actually just make us feel so grateful, you know. And just to start just being in Teahupo, it's paradise. Like what a beautiful place, what a beautiful energy, you know. So just being there it feels like a lot of gratitude. And then the competition side is, as a coach, you know, it's a dream to be there, to experience that level, and again, like to make history for El Salvador, you know, and for the country by getting to the highest stage, you know, in a sport. And then it's so much learning. You learn from everybody. You're surrounded by the best, you know. So every time that I have the opportunity to be in a big stage and with a lot of knowledgeable coaches and surfers and people, you know, I just learn a lot, you know. I just always watch and see, and it's not that I'm doing that because I'm right now in that level. That's what I've been doing my whole life, you know, like trying to learn from everybody, see that. And so yeah, an amazing experience to be there.
I have a question about so had he surfed that wave before? Had he been able to experience that wave before the Olympics itself?
Yeah, he went to a surf camp with the ISA, they organize for all the surfers that never surfed there before. They organize a camp, and they went with Tereva. David, he's a local, like main local there, and a great guy. And he went there. Then I went with him a second time, and we did another camp with Tereva. So he was giving me the insights,
Yeah.
on like the coach level, So here, okay, like be aware of this and that, like, so it was a really good experience. And then we went to the Olympics.
Yeah.
So he did 2 trips before the Olympics, so he was already feeling very comfortable at that spot.
And during, maybe actually after the event itself, was it overwhelming, the exposure? I mean, was it so much positivity comes from that, really showing and showcasing El Salvador as a surf culture, as a destination, you as a coach, him as an athlete. Was it ever something that was overwhelming?
For he won on the Pan American Games, the bronze medal.
Yeah.
That was a huge medal for him, and I think that was one of the pivot points for El Salvador, because it was like the right moment where the government was already like kind of starting to talk about like surfing and trying to make it something, big in El Salvador, and push it. So when he won that medal, the whole country was watching that contest, because it was a Pan American game. So there's different sports going on, and there was just a few guys from El Salvador competing for El Salvador, because you have to qualify, and we didn't have too many. So the thing is, there was no medals to El Salvador yet. So that was the opportunity. It was the final, the opportunity for a medal. So the whole country, the grandmas, everybody in national TV, so the whole country was paying attention, and it was like a big, I think, like a big detonator to be like, hey, surfing is something, like, hey,
It's
guys,
not just this little thing over
yes,
here.
like we have a guy that is just won a medal.
He brought us a medal.
Yeah, so it's like, and it's for me, like, I'm not in the spot, like, of course, as a coach, but I'm not the main character, of the movie on that. Like, with coaches, and of course, a lot of people like know that how important it is, but more overwhelming for him, that everybody like pictures everywhere. If he goes to a mall, people ask for pictures and this and that. So it was a big like jump on his popularity, and he became like a model even more for El Salvador. Like, hey, like hope, like a superhero. It's like, hey, we have a beast that can go and beat big guys, and make El Salvador proud, So
Yeah.
that was huge, I think, in all this, and that brought a lot of attention.
You talked about your peer and the hotel being one piece of it. And that's what I was exposed to first, because I got here so early. Walked down the site of the palm trees and the infinity pool, and it was just so tranquil. And then right out front is the point break right there, and it was pumping. And the energy of it, and the vision of it being right there off the pool. Beautiful is an understatement. It really was such a strong impression, especially as a surfer, just to have this beauty lined up with this power and energy. And then as I've been here this couple days, the compliments to you on your vision, and the people that you worked with on your team to make it happen. We're sitting currently right here. We couldn't show you the view from here because we would have been backlit, but we're in a yoga room that overlooks the point, and we've been seeing just sets and sets of waves come in. This space right here is incredible. I'm here in part of the Performance Academy. There's paddle pool down here that they could be paddle training in. There is a big fitness facility space that has suspension trainers and and Bosus and balance and some strength and some kettlebells. And as a coach that has gone on quite a few surf trips, I have never been in a facility that is so uh, has so much focus from a surfer's perspective and what it takes to prepare them for that. Then we can talk about it. And Marcelo's going to talk more about jiu-jitsu mats, cold plunge. I mean, the list just goes on. The touches, even of just the rooms and the surf touches of it, it makes you feel good, you know. Surfboards on the shower doors, the table and the desk is the shape of a surfboard. These little touches might not seem like a big deal, but they all go back into the feeling that you get when you step in here. And I just want to congratulate you on that, because it really, you did make your vision. It's beautiful.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and all the things you mentioned I was just going back in time a little bit when you were talking about the details and all that, and I think that a lot of very talented and passionate people in their fields got together to make this happen. So I was remembering like the meetings with the girl, with the interior designing girl, where she was asking me all about surfing and trying to understand and the feeling and that. And then he came up with the essence of what she understood back in the days, So the whole team, the architect, like everybody involved, it's been like super passionate on what they're doing, and I think that's why you can feel on every detail something, because there was people working on those details trying to feel the essence. Like I was like trying to share the essence and everything, but it was a group of people, a big team making it happen, making it real, So that's why I also feel very blessed, because I have people around me that is just helping me and wanting to be part of the vision, and I think that's what makes it very special.
It's interesting about that. Talk about that for a little bit. Like having the Performance Academy open first, 13 years ago, and Puro Surf, where we are right now in El Zonte, has been 8 years, right?
Yes.
How long was not just the physical construction, but the planning of that and the bringing that together? Talk a little bit about that process. How long did it take? What were some of the real highs, and what were some of the real difficulties to make this vision, it doesn't just create itself.
There's it's a journey to make something happen. I remember mostly being very excited and just working really hard to make it, bring it to real life, and challenges. Like when you're just building whatever, if it's a house or whatever, like there's challenges, but nothing crazy to mention. We already had the challenge of being in a country that the U.S. government told you not to go because there was an alert back in the day. So we have a lot of challenges that were like real but also out of our hands, doubt, also when you do business, I'm not a business guy, I'm a surfer. They wanted to create something that have an impact and also that I can live with, but I can see the vision. I can see the potential, but sometimes like my partners, they don't know, not surfers, so one of them is a surfer, but the others, they're not. So sometimes it's hard to like give them the peace of being like, hey, I know we have something special here, we need time, so me being a surfer, before a businessman, it's been a lot of just like passion behind and pushing, because at the beginning there was a lot of people coming to the hotel, but not so much for the academy. Because when 8 years ago, still like people is like, coaching, no, that's not good, like there was some resistance still for coaching and all that. So we like needed to break that and go through. And for me, it was also very easy, because everybody, even people that is like, no, coaching, just they come, okay, we're going to work on some tips here, just work on this. And then they work and they're like, whoa, this works, and it's like, oh, I've been doing this my whole life, and I just have to move my back foot a little bit back, so it's like, wow, now they want more. So it's something that it's real. 98% of the surfers need it, and we created like this methodology and all that to help the people to get better and know how to get better, how to go from point A to point B. So the challenges is that, that sometimes like it takes time, everything. It takes time. But if you have passion and you have love for what you do, like things start to work. And now things are working, and things change. Like when I didn't know that the country was going to turn in one of the most safe countries in the world. All those things, like it works to our side, and now we have surf camps every week, and we have like around 12 people that is coming to do a surf camp in different levels, from beginner, novice, foundation, and higher happening, and now it's cool to see that all these tools that I was visualizing and in how I'm gonna help someone to improve on their paddling, or how we're gonna help someone to improve on this technique or mobility, or a place to work on, and a place to do meditation, visualization, yoga, and stuff like that. So now it's cool that all the areas are being used, and like there's people using it, and we're seeing the results and all that. But yeah, it's been a great journey. I a lot of fun, like meeting. I think that's one of the biggest things that I really grateful for, is that I had the opportunity to meet a lot of amazing people, like, and learn. And I always said that this is a platform where we gather information and we share that information, and because of that and all this, like I've been growing a lot and learning, because we have coaches from all over. Like we have the Brazilian team here, like we have like pros and amazing coaches, and we always learning. So that gave me the blessing and the opportunity to now I created a methodology that is called the surf sequence. And that's something that we apply here at Puro Surf. Puro Surf, it's a facility, it's a place. It promote like the mission that I was telling you about. But then we also have a methodology that is very specific. It's called the surf sequence, and that's the methodology that we use at Puro Surf, for people that wants to learn how to surf.
That openness that you've talked about several times, I think it's so critical, because that ability to take information in and to be able to share it takes being open to learning those things from wherever they come from. When we were similar, we've had these amazing opportunities to be around and learn from just incredibly high level coaches. And you get so much from that. And there you're aware this person has a lot to offer, and you're open to that. It's continuing to be open to learning from, like, I've done this thing this way, but this Grom is doing this thing, and learning from that ability. Call it being humble, call it whatever you want to call it. It's critical, because you grow in so many different ways if you keep yourself open to that. So that's a powerful thing to share with you.
It's a white belt mentality, like you always learn, and I think that's the so powerful. And for me, the same, like I let's say, if you look at the best coaches in the world, they were like ex-pro surfers from the CT and these like big names and that, like I'm nobody, so no, in a
But
way, but it's like, so I don't have that of I have to know everything because I'm the ex-world champion and this, like I don't have that pressure. Like, it's like I became a coach and now some people know me, and I've been in like the highest stages, but at the same time it's like I've been open always, because it's like, yeah,
it's the
I don't
best
have
way
the
to be.
pressure, I don't have any pressure. Like, it's this way. Oh, I was doing it wrong. Okay, I'm gonna do it now this way because I
It's
find out
better.
that it's better.
Yeah.
I have to be like, I don't want to listen that. Even more if someone is wrong. If you're wrong and someone is like, you don't want to even put that in there and show that you were wrong. For me, it's been like, of course, there's ego. And of course, sometimes like, oh, I've been wrong. I was supposed to be this coach, but okay, yeah, that's a better way to do it. Like, that's great.
It also is real, though. And most people respond to that. Most people respond to being real. And I learned something here. I'm growing. We're all continuing to learn. That circles all the way back to that idea of community that you mentioned so many times. Like I say it so often. I've been training surfers for 25 years now, but you never stop improving on that. Sometimes you're even going back and relearning the foundations again, because you have progressed some and we're focused our attention on these things. And they're like, all right, I need to reset. I need to reset on these foundations again.
Yes.
The more you, and because we are surfers, we're teaching ourselves continually every day and learning and teaching. I mean, that cycle is, I'm just so grateful I get to do that, because like what we talked about before, it's the most important part is my business is surfing, and they're not always intricately tied, but what I get to do in my day to day is learn and grow and think about surfing.
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
That's pretty cool.
So where you are right now in this amazing space and methodology and experiences that you've built, what are you most excited about for Puro Surf in the next 5-10 years?
I think like continue like improving, in the little details, and to have a more clear sharing of the mission that we have, and keep solidifying that. And I think that there's a lot of opportunities to grow. I think that wave pools are something big, and surfing needs more structure. And I think that there's gonna be opportunities so we can replicate this model in different places, so we can keep like dropping, water drops, in different places through surfing and through a real method like the surf sequence that can take you from point A to point B and give you the structure so you can be a happier surfer with more tools. And if you're happier and having more fun, like you can be a better drop and share more and share good energy. So I think that that's where we're going. Like we had in the past a lot of people asking like, hey, we want to open a Puro Surf this and this place and that, but I feel like we're not ready. And because the same, like as a business guy, it's like, hey, yeah, let's go. But I'm a surfer, so I want to surf too. I want to have time for my family. I want, and I don't want to just grow. I organically, I want to do like make it grow, but in a way that it's being real and organic, not just for the sake of like grow and do this. But I think that there's so much opportunities with the hotel, the academy, the whole concept, but with the academy and the methodology, I think that just like replicate that in different places, I think there's a huge opportunity. And just with the methodology also, like even academies that want to apply just the methodology, there's big opportunities because I developed that based on the need, and seeing like where like an academy needs, what people need, like based on that is why I created that. So it's not creating a product that now you have to find and convince people. It's like, this is what people already need. I have a solution. It's called the surf sequence, and it's all the knowledge from so many people that I have the blessing of learn, that I put it there, plus my experience, and put it in a way that I think is very powerful. I bless again, like super blessed, because I got to the point where I don't see like, oh, I'm using this tip from this guy and this from that guy. I feel that I'm like I need to be original. No, this is all evolution. Thank you for that, because now with that I can do something, maybe put it together with something that helps even more, bring faster, improving. So with all the pieces, I have created a formula, let's say, that gives a result. And I'm super grateful, because this journey have taken me to this place where I can develop something that I have already proved with hundreds of people that works. And I am stoked with that.
Elevating, and when everybody elevates, then the whole community is better, and the progression is better, and can help more effectively.
Yeah.
Marcelo, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me at Puro Surf. It's been an amazing experience, and being able to share this one-on-one time with you has been really amazing.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me and making me part of your projects and your journey. And I hope that we can keep being a good drop, you know.
Thanks for listening to the Surf Strong Show. Our mission is simple: build a healthier surf community and help you surf strong for life. If today's conversation gave you something valuable, share it with a friend and help spread the movement. For bonus programs, surf-specific training, and ways to connect directly, head to surfstrongfit.com/start. And if you're ready for high-touch, customized coaching, reach out to see if you're a fit for my surf-exclusive program. Until next time, train smart, breathe deep, travel far, and surf strong for life.